Okay, enough of this funky chicken stuff. We got funky chicken music playing here. We're going to get rid of that and get our radio guys online. Okay, they're in line. They're on. Everything's on. Everything's working. Good morning. We're a couple minutes before noon. My name is Paul Calamere. This is Absolutely coming to you live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, in the studios of 4680Q Radio, across from the Meteor Crater, and I am just jazzed up about this season coming up. I mean, let's face it, we have a lot of great prospects. We got a lot of good stuff going on. I'm wearing my jersey here with the world on it. Yeah, this is the big jersey. I love this jersey. Only wear it once in a while. I only crack it out once in a while. And the only place I really wear it is on HABSOLUTELY. So let's get into the show. Of course, you see, John isn't here this week. Couldn't make it in, but he may be back next week. We'll see what happens with that. And don't mind me, I'm just adjusting buttons, tuning everything up so you don't miss a word of it. Okay, so ETU is alive and well as Canadians look for that second line center to work with Demidov and Laine. And believe me when I tell you, there's no shortage of rumors floating around the NHL as far as Hughes and company are what they're going to do. And you know, I see how everybody trying to pick this out. I mean, this is a time of year where we're kind of in a doldrum here. We're right after the excitement of the draft and free agent frenzy, and we have all these prospects that I talked about last week that are getting in there and ready to go. We have a whack of stuff that's going on, but not right now. So everybody is trying to predict what's going to happen. And, you know, everybody's coming to Montreal. Everybody wants to come to Montreal. They're the number one place everybody wants to go. And there's all these crazy things going on. But really, it's all conjecture. I'm not going to deal so much in that because, you know what? ETU. Expect the unexpected with Hughes. So they're just throwing stuff against the wall, I guess, and hoping something sticks and they can say, I told you so. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not predicting anything. I don't know what the hell they're going to do. The Habs, they need that second line center. Hughes is working towards it. Who it's going to be, I don't know. There's just so many variables as far as what players are going to be moved for it. Are the players going to want to come here? Do they have no trade clauses? Do they want to come to Montreal? Are they just posturing with their agents, trying to put a little bit of pressure on their own team? So there's no use getting too much into all that. I'd rather just sit around and wait and see what happens, thinking that, well, if worse comes to worse and we don't pick up anybody, we're not in that bad shape, if you want to know the truth. So while everybody else is running around looking for possible trades and rumors and everything else, I'm going to sit here doing my usual show with, with our commentary, with the Habs trivia, of course. We always do the Habs trivia, our opinions, and at the end of the day, salute to everybody. We're gonna give you what we think, and thank you everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate your patronage and that you're tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. While I'm talking about it, it helps our algorithm get the show out to more people. It helps people watch it. And I know I look at the numbers, probably 50% subscribe, and it costs nothing. It costs nothing to subscribe, but you are helping us get the show out. So if you enjoy the show, subscribe. If you like the show, thumbs up. If you have comments, let's have the comments. We want to know your opinion on stuff. I mean, we sit here and give opinions, but at the end of the day, do you agree with us or don't you agree with us? Do you have maybe a better idea that might be interesting? Let us know. That's what we do here. Speaking of your comments, let's get into them. And we had a few here, a couple new ones, a couple new guys I haven't seen before. At Whiskey Lung, good, wholesome Habs content. Keep being you with a heart. So I'm not sure who Whiskey Lung is, but thank you, Whiskey Lung. We appreciate your comment. And just keep doing our thing. That's what we do here at HABSOLUTELY. We keep doing our thing. We just chug along, subscribe and share. Like I said, we have a lot of fun doing the show, and the more people, the better to join in and share the fun. The more, the merrier. If you have a comment, Whiskey Lung, leave it. We'll definitely talk about it. If you have anything to say or have a thought of where Hughes is going to go, expect the unexpected, right? Expect the unexpected. ETU. That's what we talk about. At HABS for Life 41. Hope y'all have a great summer. Cheers from British Columbia. Thank you so much at HABS for Life 41. We love our BC listeners. We love all our listeners. Tune in. Watch the video. The video's on YouTube. It's on Rumble. It's on X. And it's on Truth Social. So after I get out of the studio here, I drop it onto YouTube, and then I drop it onto Rumble, and then I drop it onto X and Truth Social. If you have any of those platforms, you can watch it. Now, to HABS for Life 41, have a great summer. See you when training camp starts, mon ami. Go Habs, go. And it's not that far. We're not that far off. We have a Prospects Challenge coming, and then we have training camp in September. And yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. And I think training camp, no matter what everybody says and what everybody talks about, training camp is going to be the one thing that'll decide who's going to replace the people we've lost, like Dvorak, Armia, Pizzetta, and who else was in that group? Heineman. Who's going to jump up into their spots? And we'll find out. And the training camp is going to tell the story. I mean, we have Sammy Blaze that's got to come up. We'll talk about that later. At Vince Hudo, our number one commenter, Vince Hudo, he gets the award. He gets the trophy for number one comment guy. Vince, great to see your sidekick back, Paul. That's John, of course. John was in last week. He managed to get into the studio, had a great show. John brings another perspective to the show, Vinny. We know that, and it's good to have him back at the co-host seat. He should be back next week. We'll see what happens. But he may be back. Thank you for the comment. And thanks from John. I'm sure John would thank you if he's here. At Vince Udo, you mentioned you did not know much about this Vincenz Rohr. And Vinny says he's known for a few years. He played for the Ottawa 67s and was drafted by the Habs in 2022. He went back to Europe and won a couple of championships in the Swiss League. He's a feisty winger that can outpoint some players. He can put up some points, he said. That's what he said. Playing with Austria at the World Championship, he was the best player on the team. He may be a bottom six forward in the near future. For the Habs to sign him, they must have saw something, and this management team seems to be flawless on most of their moves, which is true, Vinny. It's all true. Great commentary. Thanks for that information. I really didn't know a lot about the guy, but now I do. We mentioned him last week in the prospects that may be coming up or may have a shot. I didn't know a lot about the kid, but certainly do now because I did check in on him. He sounds like he could be a useful part of the bottom six, although the 20-year-old is a little small at 5'11" and 168 pounds. And that doesn't kind of jive with the need to get bigger that the Habs always talk about. Now, having said that, LJ Mooney's 5'7", and there's more stuff being said about LJ Mooney than anybody. This kid is going to be a phenom, apparently. And so the size matter? Yeah, it does matter. Can talent overcome size? To a certain extent, yes. Talent and size is what everybody's looking for. But he could be great bottom six at some point in the future. Habs are loaded with good prospects, and that's a good thing. We're watching all these prospects, and we're going, wow, we got a lot of prospects. We got a lot of good players that, can be ready to come up or are ready to come up already. We'll find out after training camp. But yeah, there you go. A little bit about Vincenz Rohr that I didn't know a lot about when I mentioned his name last week. At Vince Hudo again, Habs player to score 7 hat tricks in a season. I have no idea. Well, last week the trivia was, what Habs player scored 7 hat tricks in one season? That was the question. You had to go all the way back to 1917, first year in the league, in the NHL, when the NHL started. And it was Joe Malone, of course, who had 7 hat tricks in the season, and he had 44 goals in 20 games. Do the math, everybody. Do the math. And he had 7 hat tricks in in those 44 goals. I think a couple of the games he had 5 goals and 7 goals. It was a tough one, but I love these tough ones because it gives us the long and storied history of the Montreal Canadiens and the NHL. There's a lot of years between 1907 and 2025. And the Montreal Canadiens were a dominant force in a lot of those years. We have a lot of history, way more than maybe any other club, and especially history that's successful, winning Stanley Cups, winning scoring awards, and a guy who scores 44 goals in 20 games. So it's interesting to reach back into the Habs history and see where we came from and how these players did and who these players were. And it's nice that we're right now trying to live up to the legacy of the Habs. There are many championships, and just a dominant in the league for so long. Okay, Vinny, that's all our viewer comments. Thanks to everybody who commented. It's fantastic that you do. We really appreciate the comments. Habs for Life 41 and Whiskey Lung. Thank you so much for leaving your comments. I guess we got to give a big congratulations to Patrick Laine, who got married last week or something to Jordan Smith, Jordan Laine now. And it was a beautiful wedding ceremony. We saw it. There's a lot of players there. And also, they took a nice vacation, a nice honeymoon over to, it looked to me like Italy and Spain or something. So good for them. Maybe that'll settle the guy down. He'll be able to settle down and play some wild hockey. I'm hoping so. This woman is good for him. She's not more of a distraction. We don't need any of that with him. Got enough distractions, but maybe she'll settle him down a little bit, and he'll get down to playing hockey and doing what he does best. That's scoring goals. We can get him doing it 5-on-5. Come on, Jordan. Jordan, are you listening to me, Jordan? At night, when he's asleep, whisper in his ear, 5-on-5 goals, 5-on-5 goals, 5-on-5 goals. Get it into his subliminal mind. This guy could be 40 or 50 goal scorer if he could score 5-on-5. He has 16 or 17 on the power play in half a season. And that's, oh my goodness, with him, Demidov, and a center that can play with them. Unbelievable. Congratulations, Patrick and Jordan. Enjoy your honeymoon. Get back fresher than ever, ready to go. And let's tear this league up this year. Come on. Okay. Over to Habs Trivia, John. Well, John's not here, but he would be going Habs Trivia. Here's one for you guys, right? Now, I'm trying to make them a little bit harder as we go, and we'll have other stuff. But for now, let's just make them a little tough. Give Vinny a challenge here. Now, we all know that behind a great man, there is always a great woman. Patrick Laine, are you listening? Jordan, you're the woman. Classic example is a classy lady named Elise Couture, Mimi Beliveau, who we see at every game. So much class, so much dignity. Beautiful woman. Adored by the players, the fans almost to the point of being as famous as LaGrosse Bill himself. Now, the question is I have, what Habs player had a wife just as famous as the player himself? So we've seen a lot of guys go through the Habs lineups that have become famous all-stars. Legendary. But which one of them had the most famous wife? I don't know if anybody's going to get this one, but I'll give you 4 names. And see if you can pick out the person. Carey Price. Yeah, Angela. She's got her own business. Smart. People know who she is. Is she more famous than Carey Price? Valerie Bure. Ooh, you remember Valerie Bure? He played for the Canadians for a while, and I remember him. Pavel Bure's brother, the Russian Rocket, Brandon Prust. Remember Brandon Prust? He played for us for 2 or 3 years. Or Serge Savard, the senator. Who was it? Who had a wife that was more famous, or just as famous, or more famous than the player himself? Carey Price, Valerie Bure, Brandon Prust, or Serge Savard? Vinny, what do you think? What do you guys think out there? This is a tough one. This is a tough one because you got to know who they're married to and what they're famous for. I gave you a hint with Carey Price because everybody knows Angela, right? So what do you think? Correct answer. Carey Price, Valerie Bure, Brandon Prust, or Serge Savard? Well, Vinny and everybody else out there in Videoland and Radioland, the correct answer is number 2, Valerie Bure. Now, he played with the Habs in the 1994-95 season and stayed with them until the 1997-98 season when he was moved to the Calgary Flames. I remember Valerie Bure, and we had huge expectations of him because of his brother Pavel. I remember him as a good skater who moved the puck, but never really dominated in the NHL like he did with the Spokane Chiefs in the WHL, where he had, in the 92-93 season, he scored 68 goals in 66 games in the Western Hockey League. You'd think he'd come up and have a heck of a career. He was part of the Smurf line, if you remember. And that's probably where I got about No More Smurfs. And I always say that, No More Smurfs. With Saku Koivu and Oleg Petrov. Do you remember those two guys? I do. He was on that line. None of who were over 5'10" tall. They're all shorter. Now, of course, Pavel Bure, Valerie's brother, was a major star in the NHL who has nicknamed the Russian Rocket. Well, he married Anna Kournikova. You remember her? A world-famous tennis star, a Russian tennis star, Anna Kournikova? Yeah. So he had a famous wife. And I think he was linked up to the other girl too, who married what was the other guy? Fedorov or somebody? Another Russian athlete. Maybe he married. No, but he was a pretty slick guy. He's marrying these girls. And Kournikova was a beautiful woman. But Valerie Bure married Candace Cameron, and he met her through her co-star Dave Coulier while filming the 90s sitcom Full House. He must have been on the set. They hit it off and away they went. I mean, her brother was Kirk Cameron, who everybody knows from the movies and stuff. They married in 1996, and they're still married, believe it or not. Valerie Bure and Candace Cameron, which is a lot more than I can say for a lot of these players. Candace is famous for a role as DJ Tanner on Full House in the follow-up sitcom Fuller House, starring John Stamos, Bob Saget, and Dave Coulier. She also had roles in many other well-known shows such as St. Elsewhere, Growing Pains, Punky Brewster, TJ Hooker, Who's the Boss, and a whack of these other sitcoms that ran back in the day. She was also co-host of The View for 2 years, came in third in Dancing with the Stars, and participated in the talent show The Masked Singer. So pretty famous woman, well-known in movie circles, acting circles, probably a lot more well-known in her industry and in the United States than not Pavel Bure, he was pretty well-known, but Valerie Bure for sure. If that's not enough, she's written 4 books, won a New York Times bestseller, and managed to have 3 children in between all these jobs. Yes, she's more famous than her hockey-playing husband. She has a net worth of about $14 million. I don't think Valerie quite made that much money when he was in the NHL. Now, he runs Bure Family Wines in St. Helena, California, And the wine isn't cheap. It's a small batch winery charging like $175 a bottle. The Burries are doing just fine. So that's the background of Valerie Burry, who married Candace Cameron, who was a pretty big name in the movie industry and the sitcom and television industry. So there you go. He's the most famous one of the Montreal Canadiens. Now, honorable mention does go to Brandon Presto, and he played for the Habs in 2012 through 2015 season. And his ex-wife was Quebec-born Marie-Pierre Morin, a French-Canadian TV host and model. She was a member of the cast of the reality series Hockey Wives, you remember that, and appeared in music videos and other television programs. So Brandon did all right. They're not together anymore. They lasted 10 years, but he didn't. She's not as famous as Valerie Burry's wife, Candace Cameron. So there you go. The correct answer, Valerie Burry, who married Candace Cameron. They're still married. They own a winery in California, and she still appears on different roles in the acting world. She did a bunch of stuff with the Hallmark Channel movies for that. I mean, they are famous, these women. I got to give them credit. They're more famous than their husband, probably more famous than most wives, hockey wives. But I still like Mimi Beliveau. I mean, she's got my heart. She stole my heart all those years, sitting up in those seats with Jean Beliveau and staying there after. The players love her. PK Subban was just blown over by her. He loves that woman. And she really liked PK Subban too. And I think she's, to me, for a hockey fan, a Montreal Canadiens hockey fan, Elise Beliveau is the one. Mimi Beliveau. See her every game. God bless her. She looks fantastic. And I hope she's there a long time, man. She's as much part of the old Montreal Forum and, of course, the Bell Center as any player that's ever skated there. Okay. So what's up with all these rumors? We talk about all these rumors. I got rumors. Everybody's talking about this, that. People going here, people going there. I've heard it so many times, you can't keep track of them all. But really, that's because ETU is in action. When you have ETU, when you have a manager that goes by that rule, this is what you get. And it's because Hughes is hard to predict. Just when you think nothing's happening, Laine drops in her lap. Just when you think nothing's happening, Doc drops in our lap. Just when you think nothing's happening, Newhook drops in our lap. And just when you think nothing's happening, Demidov drops in our lap. And just when you think nothing's going on, we get Dobson. So expect the unexpected from Hughes. And that's why there's so many rumors going around. Everybody's got a guy who's coming to the Habs. They love the Habs. And they're not wrong. There are a lot of players who want to come to the Habs at this point. I mean, Dobbs took a cut. He could have got more from another team, but he wanted to be with the Habs because the Habs are where it's at right now. They've got the culture, they've got the city, they've got the team, and they're going to have the Stanley Cup in a few years. There's a reason they want to come here. They're not coming here because they want to listen to HABSOLUTELY. They can do that anyway, no matter where they play. But they're coming here because the Habs are on the rise. They're the team that's got the best chance of winning the Stanley Cup in the next few years. They're planning for it. They're playing for it. And it's going to happen. And they know it. Now, here's the ones that I always hear about. I'm going to talk about them a little bit. Because these are the ones I always hear about. And probably the ones that are most likely to come here. Or the ones most not likely to come here. It's your decision. It's your opinion on these guys. First one's Sidney Crosby. Second one, and this is a new guy that's just jumped into the top 4 of mine anyway, because I've heard about him a lot now. And he said he would go to the Habs. Nazem Kadri. Third one, Jordan Kyrou and 4, Evgeny Kutznutsov. Now, all of these guys everybody's talking about. But the first one I want to talk about is Sidney Crosby. Because people are saying that Sidney Crosby isn't coming to the Habs. He's going to end his career with the Penguins and would never move to any team, even the Canadiens, his childhood team. But let's think about this for a minute. Hockey today is a business. That's what everybody says, but it's always been a business. Gone are the days that any one player stays with any one team for his career. I think the last Montreal Canadian to start his tenure with the Habs and end it there was Markov, the general. He was the last one. And on any given day, any player can be moved. If you don't believe it, ask Wayne Gretzky. Who, in their right mind, with Stanley Cups under his belt, the NHL's leading scorer, and everything else at the time anyway, and everything else going for Wayne Gretzky, Messi, Curry, the whole gang. Who thought any of them would ever leave? But they all did. They didn't end their career where they started. And that's the way hockey is today. With salary caps, with team shuffling, because you're only as good as your last season, and they have to make moves. They can't just keep all these players. They got to start moving them. Guys like Marner, go. Guys like Matthews will be gone. McKinnon may be gone. It just doesn't, they just don't stay with one team. Most of them can't. Now, the exception right now is Crosby. He's been with the Penguins all his career, and same with Malkin. But that could change. I mean, I think I grew up in the land of deception, because we always looked at the Montreal Canadiens and their successful seasons and all the players staying there. But you know what? A lot more were moved. Even the big names were moved. We're used to the Beliveaus and Rocket Richards and Pocket Rockets and those kind of guys who stayed with the team their whole career. But the great Jacques Plante didn't end his career with the Habs. I think he ended it with the Buffalo Sabres or Toronto Maple Leafs or something. Neither did Ralph Backstrom. Boom Boom Geoffrion. How could anybody be more Montreal Canadian than Boom Boom Geoffrion? He ended up with the Rangers at the end of his career. The Rocket, Pocket Rocket, they stayed. Guy Lafleur ended up with the Rangers. But today, the NHL is a business with salary caps and you're only as good, and your business is only as good as the last year. And a lot of decisions aren't made on sentiment anymore. Managers move around a lot. You don't get a guy being coach of the team for 15 years, like a Toe Blake. You don't get a guy being general manager of the team for years and years, like Harry Sinden. You just don't get these guys anymore. They don't stick around for long. And it's just the nature of the game, because you're only as good as your last season. Now, once the American teams came in, other than the original 6, it was tougher because you got teams like Florida and Carolina and that. And when they're good, the house is packed. When they're not good, it's empty. And they're fluttering on insolvency. So their goal is not so much to keep and retain great players. Their goal is to keep and retain clients, customers. And the only way they can do that is by keeping the team up to date with good players. Boston Bruins are a great example. They make the playoffs. They made the playoffs every year. I think last year was the first year they missed them in, 15, 20 years. But that's the kind of thing that these teams like. They like success. They like to make the playoffs. Not only does it mean more excitement for the fans, but it means more gate for the owners. So that's why these players don't stick around. So anybody who says Crosby would never leave, he's going to, well, maybe. But don't discount the fact that Pittsburgh missed the playoffs last year and they're under a rebuild. And if they could get 3 good players in draft picks, or 2 good players in draft picks, there's something really good for Crosby. There's a price. They may take it and send Crosby packing because he's just about, his career's just about over. And he can be a lot more value to the team as trade bait and help the team more as trade bait, bringing in some dynamic players than he could being on the ice himself. Now, he got 35 goals last year. He had a good season last year. Don't get me wrong. He's still good. And that's one of the reasons I'd love to see him on Montreal as the second line center. Now, I mean, there's some logistic problems. We got a guy who's been in the league all this time. He's more famous than anybody else on the team, and he's going to be second line center. You can't displace Nick Suzuki for Sidney Crosby. So there's going to be some of that, that in the dressing room. But I think Crosby is a gentleman, and he's a sensible guy. You don't see Crosby doing anything stupid. He's a sensible guy, a quiet guy. He goes there, he does his job. And the amount of experience he has that could help the Montreal Canadiens younger team. We got the youngest team in the league, by the way. Wow. That's all you can say is wow. And we do have a pool of prospects that the Penguins might be interested in. There is a trade to be made there for Crosby. And people keep saying it. Kiprio said he's coming after the Olympics, the All-Star break, Olympics break, whatever you want to call it. He's going to Montreal at the end of the season and help them in the playoffs. So there is that coming from a lot of people. So anybody who says it's not going to happen, he's going to finish his career, ETU, expect the unexpected. Seriously. The U.S. fans want results. The gate depends on results. As much as the Penguins have been a really good team for a lot of years with Malkin, Crosby, Letang, those guys are long in the tooth. They're on their way out, not on their way in. The Penguins have to replenish. They have to replenish, and the way to do it is to start moving their big guys for some good prospects. And we've got them. Habs have got them. So we'll see what happens. I mean, they never made it to the dance last year with Crosby, Letang, and Malkin. Probably not going to make it again this year. So in that vein, they may as well, get the team built up with good prospects, good draft picks, good trades, good free agents, that kind of thing, and see where they can go with the team. It's obvious because last year they missed the dance. And I think that Crosby would be good for the Habs. I don't think he would upset chemistry. He's humble enough. He's quiet enough. He's a good guy. I think he'd be a good pick. And if we got him, I would not be mad at all. There's a guy who can really, really do something for the team. And I don't think you're going to see any conflicts. I think most of our players who grew up with Sidney Crosby would be blown away to be skating on the ice with him. I think they would just be blown away, and he would be a great influence on everybody, like Mario Lemieux was on him. Now, the second one I had on the list was Kadri. And I know people talk about Kadri, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? The guy is a worker. He's a force. And he had 35 goals or something last year. This guy career hits far from over. And he's a beautiful, beautiful center. And for our second line to be feeding passes to Laine and Demidov, he'd be a great guy. He scored 35 last year. The guy skates hard all the time, and he has the talent. Guy scores 35 goals at 33 years old. Question is, does he fit with the culture of the Habs, and can MSL put up with him? Kadri's a handful. He's shown that, but he did win a Stanley Cup with Colorado right after the Leafs got rid of him because of a bad penalty he took in the playoffs. And he came back and showed him he could win a Stanley Cup, and he did. He says he would go back to the Habs or the Leafs, but I can't see him going back to the Leafs. I mean, that would be odd after the way they treated him and got rid of him. But he definitely could go to the Habs. And we've seen him. I wouldn't mind him. I don't know if it would be my first pick, but I wouldn't mind him. He would fit the bill for at least a couple years while we get our prospects up and running, and we get other guys, like maybe Bolduc ready to be center. I know our face-off expert, who is that? Mark Bureau, I think. I know he's working with Bolduc, getting him ready to be a center, and he's even working with Demida. But I think at this point in time, if we could pick up a good second center, maybe a Kadri, that would be good. So, expect the unexpected? Maybe. It would be very interesting with Kadri on the team. I'll tell you that right now. Kyrou, a lot of talk, no action. I think the Blues would want a boatload for this guy, and that boatload would include players that Hughes probably don't want to give up. There's a lot of talk, but no action. I just don't see this guy coming over. We'd love to have him, don't get me wrong. I just don't see it happening. Like I said at the beginning, a lot of these players are playing the game with management, see if they can get a long-term deal or signed or an extension or whatever they're doing, whatever their situation is. This could be another one where he's leveraging, the threat of going to Montreal against his team. I don't see him going anywhere, to be honest with you. I just don't see it. I mean, that would be a real expect the unexpected. So I don't think it's going to happen. Evgeny Kutznutsov. Well, this is the one that really intrigues me. We know the guy could play. He played with Demidov on SKA last year in the KHL. He won a Stanley Cup with Washington. He's a UFA and can probably be convinced to come to the Habs. He said he wants to come to the Habs, as a matter of fact. The question is, do the Habs want him? I mean, geez, we grabbed him. He could be the grab of the decade. From what I see, 6'2", 207, experienced center, loads of talent, and a real short-term fill-in. He's 33 years old now, so he wouldn't be here for 10 years. Let me put it that way. But this could be the answer to our second-line center. He's experienced. He has a Stanley Cup. He knows what he's doing. He played with Demidov. It'd be perfect to have him centering Demidov and Laine. He's a big guy. He's a force. Knows what he's doing. I mean, you can't ask for more than that. To me, and this is one thing I don't know, is culture. What's he like? Is he going to add to the dressing room, or is he going to be a pain in the butt? That's the one thing I don't know. Maybe somebody out there can tell me. What do you guys think? Kutznutsov, is he one? I don't know. I think it would be I think he hovered around 20 goals a season when he played in the NHL, so he can put the puck in the net. You got 20 goals. You got the guy who's going to win the Calder, probably Demidov, putting pucks in net. Laine, he's probably good for 20 anyway, at least. And another guy with 20 could put 20 in the net. Boy, that'd be sure nice for a second line now, wouldn't it? Now his contract was for $7.8 million when he finished his last year in the NHL, 23-24, and he finished that run with the Hurricanes. But I don't think he's going to get that much now. He's probably going to take a little bit of a pay cut to come over. So I don't know if that's what Hughes is looking for. They said they're not going to go after him, but once again, A2. He's the most interesting case to me. What do you think? Yes or no? What do you think, Vinny? What do you think out there in video land? Yes or no? Leave a comment on the video, and we'll take a little poll here and see what everybody thinks. Yes or no to Evgeny Kutznutsov? Am I saying that right? I don't know. It sounds good to me. Close enough. Other than these four, it appears Hughes may be satisfied with what he has. Bolduc sitting as the second-line center, and the rest of the roster filling in with prospects. It's not like we have a shortage of prospects who have had experience in the NHL and could be brought up. Everyone insists that another move will be made. We have to be patient and wait this one out. We'll find out. But if he doesn't make a move, then we're going to have to watch training camp and see who stands out of the crowd. We're not that far away from the prospect challenge and training camp, so we'll see who's invited, see who looks good, and there's some opportunity with Dvorak, Armia, Heineman, and Pizzetta getting moved out. There's a good opportunity there. We'll see who takes advantage of it. It's all there for grabbing. They just got to do it. But I think Hughes, he's really, really built a plug and play team here. If you think about it, a lot of the players that we have on the bottom two lines are basically plug and play. And as it stands now, part of the second line, the center is plug and play. We had Newhook in that role. We had Doc in that role. And we've got Bolduc who could play that role. We've got Owen Beck who could play that role. We've got a few guys who can do it. It's going to be who wants it the most and who the team thinks can take it. And that's without even getting somebody. Of course, if we pick up somebody for that role, that'll be it. So there's a lot of opportunity in training camp for somebody to stand up and show us stuff, to take that position. Bottom six have a lot of openings at this point. Users have picked up guys like Sammy Blaze, who he's probably going to make it. He has a good training camp. I think he will. We've got a lot of prospects like Waugh, Beck, Florien, Jacki, and Reinbacher who still have to be brought up. And all of them have played in the NHL on Montreal, except for Reinbacher, I think. Maybe, did he play one game? I don't think so. He got hurt. The guy who I really have a really feeling about this year is Florien Jacki. The guy's a scoring machine. He can score. He's tough. He skates hard. He's a big kid. He's going to get bigger. I think he's got a really good shot with anything in training camp to make this team this year. So I'm looking forward to that. It's very, very exciting times in Habs land. We are anticipating puck drop in October. The NHL full schedule should come out. I said it isn't out yet when I wrote this morning, but it has come out since. And like I say, the first two games are going to be against division rivals. I mean, we're not getting any favors done for us by the looks of it. I have to look at it closer. But the first two are going to be division rivals, Toronto Maple Leafs, and that's always our opening night in Toronto, and Detroit Red Wings in Detroit. So right off the bat, we got a couple of very, very important games to put to bed. And that's going to be our challenge, to come out of this first couple weeks of October looking pretty good, looking like we're a team and we got it together. Now I'm going to talk more about the schedule next week. And I'm a schedule guy. I look at the schedule and I go, what do we have to do in our first 20 games? Where is the schedule really tough? 2 years ago, I called it the dirty dozen we had to get through, and we didn't make the playoffs. Last year, I called it the lucky 11 that we needed to get through, and we did, and we made the playoffs. But I'm predicting this year that regardless if we have a dirty dozen or a lucky 11, I'll tell you what they are. We're going to be in the hunt for a playoff spot all year. We are not going to be waiting until the last game of the season to find out if we make the playoffs. And what that means is that when we get through January and we get to the trading deadline, that if we're close, if we're showing. If Hughes hasn't made a move by then, he will make a move before that trade deadline in March. So I know we're looking into the crystal ball. We're looking way down the road here. But I just got a feeling that Montreal is going to be in the hunt the whole season, and we're not going to be fooling around for the last game of the season. And in that regard, Hughes will, if we're doing good. Last year, we never gave an indication. We waited till the last game of the season to make the playoffs. So Hughes didn't make any big moves. But I think if we got a shot to really do some damage, Hughes is going to get us the player or players that we need to do that. And by then, our players may even develop to the point where we don't have to look for anybody. We may be that darn good this year. There's some big expectations from Montreal. They've got the players to do it. It's just got to all work out for us. And on that note, I'm going to get out of here. I'm getting out of here. Interesting weeks coming up. Like I say, it's not really busy in the NHL right now. There's a few things going on. And I'm just not going to go through a bunch of lists of people that might come over. I mean, it's just, I could just start naming anybody. Just pick all the anybody and just start throwing them down. Oh, they're coming to Montreal. But, that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. It's got to make sense. People have to be talking about it. Other people, not just me. They have to be talking about it. And then at the end of the day, we have to make the move. And that's all. It's all so hard. It's all so hard with no move clauses, no trade clauses, salary cap situations. And I mean, we're against the cap too with Carey Price. I mean, that would be my first trade, is trade him to somebody who needs to meet the bottom ceiling for the bottom. You got to have 70 million of payroll before the season starts. You could fill in that for somebody, and then we have that 10.5 million to use right now. We don't have to wait till LTIR kicks in on the first day of the season. So there's a lot of things going on, a lot of different things, a lot of motion, and people are moving and shaking and baking, and we'll see what Hughes does. But always, always with Hughes, that I've learned over the 3 years he's been running the show, ETU, expect the unexpected. On that note, I'm getting out of here. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's been a blast. Go Habs, go. God bless you all. We'll see you next week at noon on HABSOLUTELY right here in the studios of 4680Q Radio in downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario. Paul Calamere signing off. Au revoir, mon ami. Have a great day. We'll see you next